Hola, I'm Margaret from Moon in Spain, and today I'm greeting you from the city of Granada. Today we're going to take a walk through my favorite neighborhood in Granada. It's also a neighborhood that I lived in for many, many years. It's called the Realejo. So I'm going to walk you through some of the beautiful streets and see some of the buildings that we have here, historical buildings, and one of my favorite churches as well that I'm standing in front of right now. And maybe we'll finish today also with a tapa in a local bar. So let's go for a walk. So I'd like to start our walk today just here in front of my favorite church in Granada. This is the Church of Santo Domingo. The original construction began as a Gothic church in the year 1512 and then continued on to become Renaissance and Baroque style as well. Right in front of the church we have a statue of a very important person from Granada, Fray Luis de Granada. He was an important preacher and writer, and he was actually brought to Portugal eventually because he became so well known for his preaching. He also wrote a very well-known book for theologians called the Book of Prayer and Meditation. So going upward from the main entrance, we have the arms of the Catholic monarchs, Isabel and Fernando. Then we have an image of the Virgin of Rosario, which you will see again inside. And then the images also of the symbols for Fernando and Isabel on the left and the right. And then on the right-hand side of the church, is the convent. The church originally formed part of this convent called the Convent of the Holy Cross. And then you could see the other side of the church. I'll show you in a moment in the image. We have what's called the Cobertijo, a small alley going through. We can see the chapel up at the top. It has a bit of a mudéjar architecture style. And then here another image also of the Virgin of Rosario, who is the co-patroness saint of Granada. And we are also going to see right here at the end of the alley the symbols for the Path of St. James, or the Mozarabic Camino de Santiago that runs through the city of Granada. So here you can see up on the altar this week the neighborhood of the Realejo in Granada are actually celebrating the week for the day of the Virgin of Rosario. So normally there will be a very important procession this week and other activities. Obviously now pretty much everything is being held within the church. But actually the other day from my house I could even hear some fireworks going off for that celebration. So we have the image of Rosario down at the end by the altar. And then you could see the style of the shape of the Latin church. And then here you can see the amazing cupola here in the Church of Santo Domingo. Actually, the whole area of where the convent is of the Holy Cross, that used to be gardens during the times of the Arabs for the mother of Boabdil, who was the last Moorish king of Granada. But now you can see again the interior part of the church. Like I said, it was originally Gothic, but now it's a mixture of Gothic, Renaissance, and Baroque. And here you can actually see one of the main parts of the floats that we would be carrying around during the time of the Easter week, or now during the week and the procession of Rosario. Here again you have a nice view, so you can see the shape of the Latin cross and again the main facade of the Church of Santo Domingo. And we'll continue walking. Okay, so just behind the Church of Santo Domingo we will find the Convent Comendadores de Santiago, one of the first female religious institutions in Granada. It was built in 1501. You can see the cross of St. James, the Order of St. James on the front here. Like I said, it's on the Camino Mozarabe, so in the courtyard you will find the yellow arrow pointing you to Santiago, which is about 1,000 kilometers from here. And the nuns here actually prepare meals, so you can organize a meal for a group of 15 friends, or I even have a friend who had a small wedding here. And now we're going to continue walking further into the Realejo. Here on the Calle Santiago, we will find the Corrala de Santiago. Corrala basically means this interior patio or place for neighbors to meet. This building was built in the 16th century. It's now used as a residence for visiting professors and students. You could see the plaques here on the wall because they win a lot of the competitions during the Cruz de Mayo, which is a festivity that we have in the month of May where people decorate crosses in their homes, schools, or here, for example. You could see the old, what we call the lavadero, so where people would wash their clothes, and the beautiful architecture, the interior patio. Here, like I said, now it is a residence for students or visiting professors, and it's owned by the University of Granada. Now we're gonna walk up further into the Realejo, or what used to be called the Maoror. This is the Jewish quarter, the old Jewish quarter of the city of Granada. It's placed just below the Sabica, or just below the hill where the Alhambra is. So we're going to walk up through this beautiful quarter and have a view of what is known as the Placeta del Sol. You can see the city of Granada just beyond it. This is an old lavadero from the 19th century where people, mostly women, would meet up to do the washing. So it was a social area. We have a view of our cathedral and some more views of the Realejo quarter. Granada had such an important Jewish community that it was actually called at one point Granada of the Jews. The Jewish history dating back much further than the Islamic history of the city. Here you have some views also of the Cuesta of the Realejo. You can see the top of the Church of Santo Domingo from here as well, and some of the beautiful homes in this area. If we were to keep going up, straight up, we would end up in the Alhambra, but we're going to walk down so I can show you more of the center of the Realejo and our main important plaza here called Campo de Principe. Now here in the lower part of the Realejo, you can see one of the important luthier shops that we have here, making the classical Spanish guitar. Maybe another day we'll go inside and do a visit to see how the guitars are made, but he has a customer right now. Okay, so now we are in the Campo de Principe. You have a view of the Art Foundation, Rodriguez Acosta, and also a beautifully decorated hostal. The Campo de Principe has a park for kids, and then you'll be able to see here a long strip of bars where people come out to enjoy tapas, local people and travelers as well. We are right below the Alhambra here. You can see now the other side of the Campo de Principe, Campo, because it used to be a field before this plaza was built. It was actually built to celebrate the wedding of the second son of Isabel and Fernando, Juan, but his wedding was actually celebrated, well, he was married in the cathedral in Burgos in Castilla y León, but the people here built this plaza to celebrate it, which is why we call it the Campo de Principe, the area of the prince. You could see the Alhambra Palace Hotel, and then we also had the Cristo de los Favores. Here we have the entrance to the School of Architecture, and then also here we have, just next to the Campo de Principe, the Church of San Cecilio. So the original church was actually built in 1501, just on an area of an old mosque up on a street called the Antequerela, which is named after people that had come here after Christians entered the city of Antequera, not too far from Granada. And then it was rebuilt after it was destroyed here. There was a synagogue here in this area, and it was built very close to that. So that's the area that we are right now. We have here the Brotherhood is based here, the Brotherhood of the Cristo de los Favores. And also you see here the image of the Virgin of the Misericordia, and then another beautiful view of the bell tower. So now we are off for a tapa near the Plaza Nueva in the center of the city. But first I'd like to show you the statue of Yehuda ben Saul ibn Dibon, who is a 12th century poet, translator, philosopher, and doctor in Granada, and he is who welcomes us to the entrance of this old Jewish quarter. So here from Plaza Nueva, you have a beautiful view of the Church of Santa Ana and also the first wall of the Albaicin of Granada. Okay, so just down the street from Plaza Nueva, we are on the Calle Joaquin Costa. We find one of my favorite bars in Granada called Bodegas La Mancha. This bar is unique because traditionally it didn't give tapas, because in the city of Granada we get free tapas with every drink that we order when we go out. But this was a bar that you would go to order wine, a vermouth, beer, and then order a bocadillo, a sandwich. Especially late night, people would come here, be so packed you wouldn't be able to walk in the front door. But also they serve different small plates of food like tortilla española, ham, the fava beans with ham. Here you can see where you can order the wine, the vermouth to take away. And then you have the menus that are placed up at the top. These are the original menus with the prices changed. Obviously they changed from the peseta to the euro now many years ago. They have the list of all the different sandwiches. Hundreds of them, hot and cold. Here you have the vats of the wine as well. And then the patas de jamón. This ham is from Treveles, which is a town in the lower part of the Sierra Nevada mountain range outside of Granada called the Alpujarra. So that's where we get most of our serrano ham. Comes from that area. Here we got a thinly sliced beef sandwich with Roquefort cheese. I have a Jumilla wine, which is from the area near the city of Murcia. Felipe has a vermouth, which is a very traditional drink to have in these bars, especially in this area near Plaza Nueva. You can see everything now behind the plexiglass. It used to be right up front where the gentlemen, because yes, they still are all gentlemen working here. They will be out in the front of the area preparing the food, the bocadillos. We ordered some torresnos from Sordia, which is basically fried. It's almost like a bacon or the lining or the pig's stomach. Very good, filled with fat and cholesterol. You need wine to wash that down. But the taste is unbeatable if you enjoy pork products, like we do very much here in Spain. So we usually come to this bar when it's a bit earlier, when there's not too many people here, especially nowadays. But this is a holiday weekend in Spain. It's on Monday, October 12th. It will be the Dia de la Hispanidad and also the Day of the Virgin of Pilar. So there are two major holidays here, the Hispanic Day and then also the Day of the Virgin of Pilar. And so there are a lot of people coming into Granada. The Alhambra was actually sold out for 2 days, which is sort of a miracle right now. You can see the list of the sandwiches up here and the beautiful woodwork in the bar also. So this is a great bar to come to when you visit Granada. I blocked out the sound, but it's a very lively bar. Here you have the croqueta, which is made from bechamel and then the meat of the cocido. So it has ham, different types of meat and chicken. And then Felipe got a morcilla sandwich, which is the blood sausage. Like I said, there's so many varieties of sandwiches you can order here. And now I'm going to leave you with some of the action on the street. Well, thank you for joining me for this walk through the Realejo quarter here in the city of Granada. Please join me soon, and I will take you to other beautiful places within the city and the province of Granada and other places in Spain and Portugal as well. Also remember to hit like if you enjoyed the video, and also to subscribe with the bell if you like to be informed when I post a new video. Also, you can check out my blog page, Moon in Spain, where you'll find my Patreon page and also my new virtual tours link as well. So thank you for joining, as always, and hasta pronto.